So yesterday, before the game kicked off, I had to go run an errand out at Home Depot. And I took the middle child, 4 years old, with me. And we get to the street corner. This is in Johnson County. And there's a bunch of people on the northwest corner of the street. And they're protesting Trump. They got bleep ICE signs. They got release the Epstein files. Another sign says here, greed is the disease. I find it interesting that people who want more checks from the taxpayer are talking about greediness. What else here? We've got something about, supporting the pedo with, a red MAGA hat. There was literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 8 people on the street corner. And they're doing the YMCA dance, too. They had a little speaker playing the YMCA, and they're doing the YMCA dance. I don't know if that was on purpose or just by accident, but I was like, don't break a hip out there. That tells you the kind of crowd that was out on that street corner. And I put the photo up last night on my Facebook page, and it's also on X at Pete Mundo. And I was having this conversation with the 4-year-old, and she said, Dad, what are they doing? And I'm like, all right, how do you answer this? I've gotten pretty good at this, though, trying to break these conversations down for little kids. I said, well, they don't like the president. And she's like, oh, man. She goes, do you like him? I said, well, yes, I do. I said, he's a little silly sometimes, but I like him. I do. A little silly, but I like the guy.
Such a nice man.
And she says to me, well, Dad, I'm silly too, so I like him as well. And I'm like, all right, great. You can sleep in the house tonight. You're good. It's all. You can have dinner tonight, too. So I post this on social media, and, people are just laying into me. Well, what do you consider a little silly sometimes? She's 4. Get over yourself. I'm supposed to break down the good, the bad, and the ugly morally from the president of the United States to a 4-year-old? Are you kidding me? Do you have kids? Have you ever had kids? This is the kind of stuff that I'm looking at on Facebook right now, and I'm like, these people got to get a life, John. It's unbelievable, man.
It is amazing, the trolling. Some people do it on purpose just to laugh at themselves, But
sure.
And there are people that are serious.
This has like 1,500 reactions to it now on the Facebook post. And, I didn't know what it was going to do. It's literally a picture of about 8 people, mostly 7 out of the 8 are boomers. It looks like one young guy got dragged by his great-grandpa or something like that.
Parents are out of town. So
yeah.
Staying with grandparents.
Yeah, exactly. He's staying at Grandpa's house, and they're like, all right, kid, we're going out to a protest. And he's holding like a no ice sign. I'm like, you tell me, what do you want that conversation with a 4-year-old to be like? You want me to break out the nuances of American public policy and the left versus the right on the way to Home Depot to pick up, a couple of tools? Really? Because she was over it in about 2 seconds, except for when we drove home and they were still out there. And she was like, Dad, they're playing YMCA. And I'm like, don't get me started. don't get me. Don't do it. Do not do it. But when the bulk of these signs had stuff about the Epstein files, that was a moment yesterday where I said, you know what? Just release these stupid things. Just release them. I actually think, and this is just my opinion, I can't prove it right now, but what I believe has been going on here is that Trump probably knows people who are going to have their names released in the Epstein files. I don't think it's about him, because you know and I know if they could have in any way tied Trump to the Epstein files during 2024, they would have done it. And you also can't say, well, look at the emails from last week. What the emails from last week showed is that, first off, the victim who was mentioned in those Epstein files is the person, Virginia Dufresne, who testified that Trump didn't do anything and was not involved in any of the terrible things that were going on with Jeffrey Epstein. That's why the media conveniently redacted her name from those emails last week. But do I think Trump knows people who are going to get caught up in this thing? Absolutely. Do I think there are people whose names are going to be released who may not have done anything wrong, who will have their names dragged through the mud? I do. Do I think some of those people know Trump? Yes. Do I think he might be trying to protect some of those people from what may be an unfair public flogging that could be coming? Figuratively speaking, of course. Yes, I do. But when this is literally the thing that they've got and the thing they're trying to drag him down on, the Epstein files, it's not worth it anymore. And there are a lot of Republicans who also are sitting there and saying, you know what, release these things. So do it. I'm on board and thinking to myself that as much as I was of the opinion that this is not the thing that's going to shake up the political landscape and is not the thing that most people wake up thinking about today on a Monday morning. They're thinking about the Chiefs getting their butts kicked. They're thinking about the affordability issues, can't buy a house, groceries are continuing to skyrocket. The property tax bills came out in Johnson County, Kansas over the weekend. If you got that, well, you opened it up and probably were not happy with what you saw. That's what they're thinking about. Epstein, is dead. Thank goodness. As far as I'm concerned, the guy's burning in hell where he belongs to be. And there are people who will never get the justice they deserve because of that. And it's largely an online-driven thing that now the media obviously is carrying because they're trying to hit Trump over it. So Trump's got to release it, let them do with it what they want, and take that card away from his political opponents. Because I'm looking at, the corner of the street yesterday by the Home Depot, and literally more than half the signs are about somehow Trump being tied to Epstein and release the files and all these different things. So you know what? Do it. Take it away from them, and let's all move on. All right, give me something good, Alfonso out in Blue Springs on the Epstein files. What do you got for me, my man? Happy Monday.
First, I agree with you. He should just release him, but he's making this a self-inflicted wound. You promised the people that you were going to release them. Your administration botched it in the beginning of the administration, and then in the summer you told people basically to shut up, that these files were not important. You don't get to choose what's important to people. You work for us, and so release them. But this is a self-inflicted one that he needs to get rid of. He's made an issue.
Listen, I here's what I think actually, and I think you're right there. But I also believe that he thought he could basically make this thing go away for the base of his own party. And he can't. And there were plenty of GOP members who were willing to basically go ahead and say, you know what? I think these things should be released. I don't care what this guy says. I'm going to vote my conscience and do what I believe my constituents want. And I think Trump probably partially thought he could bully his own party into basically going against this thing, and he couldn't.
Yeah. I guess he's not a king. He better go on and release him.
Well, that's a good point, man. These no kings protesters are going to be upset when his own party, bucks him here over these last few months. You're right about that, brother.
Great show.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, so much for the no kings protesters going out there and being like, wait, so he's not a king? So his own party actually isn't listening to what he wanted to be done or not be done on this issue the last few months? But yeah, these no kings protesters out there in Johnson County yesterday, I was like, wait, they're like 3 weeks late to the party here, John. I don't know what's going on. It's crazy. I wondered if they were kind of like John Anthony, where they just didn't know what to wear when the original No Kings protest happened. And then they finally said, I've got the outfit I want. Let's go out there. It's 65 degrees. We'll get out there before the Chiefs game on Sunday. And we'll, play YMCA and dance and try not to break a hip and the whole thing. It's going to be fantastic. Let's have a grand old time. Because that's what I saw yesterday. I was like, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. But I did not see anybody borrowing John Anthony's fishnet T-shirt. I did not see that yesterday. I was hoping
it's a bold
to see that.
choice this time of year, but the weather was nice.
I was going to say it was like 65 degrees, though, man. You could break out the fishnet in 65.
Oh, certainly. I would think.
I mean, it's not. You're going to look fine. Nipples won't be too perky. Steven in Kansas City, what's up?
He could break out that Melania Trump wig like the Kennedy grandson did in that TikTok. He's running for Congress now.
I didn't see that. What happened? Some Kennedy grandson broke out a Melania Trump wig?
Oh,
yeah, there's one unhinged on social media.
Oh, boy.
It's absolutely horrifying that this is a Kennedy. I can't. You'll watch it. You can't.
Hey, the Kennedys get weirder by the generation, so it's kind of on brand.
It's absolutely horrifying. And he's got other stuff out there. I had one interesting observation. Did you notice that this thing just kind of cooled down after Trump said he was going to investigate Bill Clinton? am I noticing that? I mean,
I think you are, but I don't see anyone else. I mean, CNN this morning, top story is Trump wants to release Epstein files. So I'm not seeing that.
Well, he said that. I think he said that Friday afternoon into Friday evening that he was going to start investigating all the Democrats that were on that jet, and it seemed like that kind of tempered it down a bit. I didn't hear any statement from Bill Clinton after that or anything. So.
Well, I mean, Bill Clinton hasn't said anything. When's the last time Bill Clinton said anything? What's he going to say?
Yeah, well,
listen, I'm not here to defend Bill Clinton. I'm just like, what's the guy going to say?
Well, we'll see what happens in the Senate. They're going to get the votes in the House, but our senators. I don't really have a lot of faith in a lot of our senators. So we'll see what happens, but. I would think they'll probably get a veto-proof margin in the House, but the Senate is, I believe, 60. What's the veto? It's 66. It's 290 in the House and 66 in the Senate. So do you think you got 66 senators?
I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. You have to get to that number. Why do you have to get to veto-proof if Trump says he's going to do it?
Yeah, well, that's true. Trump did change his. He changed it. He says he's going to go through with it. So I guess all you need is 50. But I heard something Friday afternoon that they were going after all the Democrats.
Well,
they were directing the Department of Justice to go after all the Democrat. I
don't know how you feel, Stephen. If they're going to go ahead and release this thing, you don't just go after the Democrats. You go after any scumbag who's a pedophile.
Well, no. They've already gone after us. I'm just saying when it goes both ways, the conversation gets shut down.
Listen, you're losing me when you're politicizing pedophilia, okay?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying the fact is that our president has told the Department of Justice to start investigating everybody. Just don't talk about. Let's not talk about the national media. Let's not talk about one side. Let's talk about everybody.
Well, yes, that's the point of the vote. Thanks, Steve. That's the point of the vote. Right? I mean, even Republicans who have been steadfast on the issue, Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene, they have not made it political. They haven't done any of that. They're just get it out there. We promised this to the people. Get it out there. That's it. And that's what they should be doing. That's it. All right. Well, Stephen did mention Kennedy there. And I don't know who he's talking about, some weirdo, fifth generation Kennedy who's posting weird things on TikTok. But did you see that this was an overlooked story over the weekend? Ultra-processed foods linked to higher risk of precancerous polyps, a new study finds. A study published late last week looked at the health outcomes of 29,000 nurses under 50 who underwent at least one colonoscopy. Participants were followed from June of 1991 until June of 2015 and filled out questionnaires about their eating habits every 4 years. The researchers looked at two forms of precancerous polyps. Women who had an average of 3 ultra-processed food servings per day had a 3% risk of a precancerous polyp, while women who had an average of 10 or more ultra-processed food servings per day had a 5% risk. So the conclusion of the study is that eating ultra-processed foods could lead to an increased risk of being diagnosed with precancerous growths for women under 50. This is exactly the point of the Make America Healthy Again movement. This is it. I'm reading this right now from CBS News. And I'm like, this is it. This is what Maha's all about. Eating healthy, exercising, removing ultra-processed food from the diet, entertaining every single vaccine out there, and at least looking at the studies and looking at the data. That's it. That's what this is about. Looking at things like autism rates, figuring out why that rate has skyrocketed over a few decades. That's what this conversation, that's what the movement's about. And then this random study comes out. I mean, you got a big sample size, 29,000 people over, 25 years studied here, and they come to this conclusion. It doesn't mean that it's the gospel. It doesn't mean that there aren't other studies that could come out that prove something else, but this is exactly what the movement's about. It's not political, and somehow, because it's tied to Trump, because Maha's tied to MAGA, we can't possibly explore things like autism rates. We can't possibly explore things like ultra-processed foods, which anybody in their right mind who has any common sense understands is all garbage and is really not good for you. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy it once in a while. It just means it's mostly garbage. That should not be a regular part of your diet. And here's another study proving that. And somehow the Maha movement is like one of the most dangerous movements in America. Yet this study comes out, CBS News drops it on Friday, and no one really talks about it over the weekend. Says here that ultra-processed foods account for more than half of the average American's diet, according to a report from the CDC. Ultra-processed foods have also been linked to dozens of other health issues, including diabetes, sleep issues, heart trouble, early death. Study participants who ate more ultra-processed foods also had a higher body mass index, meaning they were fatter, and more likely to have a history of smoking, according to the research. They also tended to have lower levels of physical activity and consume fewer nutrients like fiber and vitamin D. They include packaged foods, items made without many whole ingredients, and less obvious products like condiments and sauces. So, thank you. But can we just admit that these conversations are worth having and are important to have and are not in any way intended to be political, despite what you might tie the Maha movement to and who you might believe is involved and whether or not you think they're this grand conspiracy theorist or not? This is about getting this country healthy again. And when you tie it to the health insurance conversation that's been going on for the last few weeks during the shutdown, number one, if we have a healthier country, health insurance costs will come down. Instead, what are we dealing with? People who are getting fatter and more out of shape by the day.